Well, we're at the top of the hour, so let's go ahead and get started.
Hey, good morning, all.
Good morning, Donald.
Hi, Donald.
So I want to run this morning a little differently. I'm struggling a little bit this morning because I'm having a reaction to one of my medications. So I want to open this up and ask your help in the art of asking questions. If you don't mind sharing individually how you use that skill set to help you acquire customers. So David, if you don't mind starting us off, if you could share, first off, do you use the art of asking questions? And if you do, kind of give us your tips and your strategies and the kind of success that you feel you've had with this skill set.
Well, thank you, Dan. You can hear me okay, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Dan, for the opportunity. When I approach customers in terms of the art of asking questions, I find it very valuable to always put yourself in the customer's shoes. So when a client, for example, tells me that in course of conversation that he is concerned, or he calls me because he heard me from possibly an advertising I had, and he'll say, I'm calling you because I heard you might have something related to can help me control my blood pressure. And I will I will not put on then my sales hat. I will put on my empathy hat per se. And I'll say, really, what will tell me what. I'm not a doctor, of course, full disclosure, I'm not a doctor. I've had great experience with naturopath, but tell me, what's been the difference in your life? Well, my doctor's got me on prescriptions, and I have personal issues myself because the prescriptions have side effects which affect me, in my personal life, and I'm looking for options. And I said, well, that's it. Of course, I let them talk, but I ask questions. I tell me more. So that would be my initial approach, Dan, before I get into sharing what my experience has been. And even before I talk about nitric oxide therapy, then we go.
So David, I just want to make sure we understand your process is that you begin the process of asking your client or potential client questions to gather information from their perspective before you do anything.
That's correct. Try to establish, make a friend, get a better understanding so he knows I'm empathetic with his situation. Correct.
Great. Go ahead.
So as the conversation go on, I'll say, well, let me share with you what has been my experience with something called nitric oxide therapy. And of course, if the client has approached me, he's probably maybe heard something on the radio or read something on one of my brochures. And I'll say, I'm sure you heard of it, you've read of it. He says, yeah, but I don't understand a thing about it. And of course, then I'll go into saying, depending upon the course of the conversation, if the client is busy, if he is, if I feel he can get value by watching a video first, I will say, well, let me share a video with you, and I will send him a video that I have that explains how nitric oxide work, how L-arginine produces nitric oxide in the bloodstreams and helps the endothelium. And if I feel it's a video is not warranted, he's pretty much open to whatever I have to say and establishes a conversation. I'll say my client started using a nitric oxide supplement. It's called Pro-arginine Plus. My personal experience has been that it will repair and help improve circulation in the body. And as you know, when you have high blood pressure, it's because something is wrong with your circulation. And it affects us. Of course, if he's a guy, I'll say it affects us, the guys. I'd say more than the ladies, but we need good circulation to have a great personal life, great intimacy with our partner. And of course, I'll let him reply. I'll wait till he says something. Yes, in fact, that is my concern. So he'll come out and say it. A lot of guys will call me regarding blood pressure, but they really mean that they want a better intimate life. So we'll have a guy-to-guy conversation. And then the next question that comes out then is usually they'll say, okay, the most common question is say, how long does it take? Yeah. And typically I'll say, I'm not a doctor. Every situation is different. However, in my experience, and I've been doing this for about 10 years now, you will feel the improvements within 3 to 4 weeks. More energy, better sleep, vary from time. You have to go take it to at least 120 days. And if you're not ready to do this, tell me now. And I stop talking. Because when in the course of asking questions, Dan, I've refined the way I've asked questions. I don't want to deal with people that want immediate results. That's unrealistic. And I'll tell it to them. I'll say, you need to sign on for 120 days. You need to take it every day and tell me you will take it every day. And if I need to call you every day, tell me now. Or if we need to talk to your partner and insist that she puts it in your glass and takes it every day, do it, tell me now. Because you will not get the results you expect unless you try it. And I'll say, and if after 120 days, and I'll look them right in the eye, Dan, and answering their questions, after 120 days, if your numbers are not better from when you started, I'm talking about your cholesterol, your high blood pressure, your basic numbers, and your life is not improved, tell me about it, and I'll refund the money myself. And I stop right there. Now it's up to them. So that's the process of my conversation, Dan.
Okay, so you found the value of being quiet after you ask a question, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want the customer to agree with me, commit to the process, and let me know he understands. If not, then wait for the next question. What does it cost?
So David, as you've improved your skill set in the art of asking questions, has it increased your ability for increased sales?
Yes, Dan, it has, because the people, when you're in the business and you have built a following or I'd say a name or some credibility, they know by word of mouth that, if they ask people that have referred you, that you're not a scammer, you're not a con artist, you're very serious in your business, and what you're saying is true. So the delivery that I make, the conversation I have, Dan, has improved my ability to, and sales, we call it, to close a client, but in it's just ability to make a sale at the moment, at the time, and close the client, whether it be in an auto ship or whether it be in a one-time sales, but for at least the 120-day sale with the Centrich product. So yes, as in my experience, my skill set has improved, which leads to a sale or a no sale, which I'm fine with. One more thing, Dan, when we talk to clients, we got to be willing to walk away. We can't be a beggar, if I could call it, in pleading for a sale. No, this is what I offer you. This is what's worked. I am convinced, and I have 110% conviction that you will get the same results if you give it a chance. Are you ready? Yes or no? And that's it. And yes, Dan, that has improved my sales.
And David, using that approach of conviction with the art of asking questions, have you found that people who have said no to you? Have they come to you later on and said yes?
Absolutely, yes. The reason is because I don't, even though they say no, or they're not ready, or it's too expensive, I keep them in my database list, and I will send them a video. Or if they share their address with me, I will be glad to send them a brochure or information in the mail. So they'll keep that business card, they'll keep that brochure. And after they try, or they get tired, or one day when they get up in the morning and they're taking their high blood pressure pills, or they don't see the results they expect, they may look at my brochure, they may run into my video again, and then they will call me, or they'll hear my commercial, because I do run radio commercials, and they'll hear it again and they'll come back to me a second time and will want to try it.
Okay. So what you've done is you've used the skill of the art of asking questions to be able to empathize with the individual on the needs that they have, be able to then share those needs back to them with additional questions in the aspect of whether they know nitric oxide therapy, and then be able to share your conviction of how well this works for both you as well as your clients. And that if they're truly serious, start now, give it 120 days. And if it doesn't work, you'll get your money back. And would you say that out of 10 people that you use that approach, would you say that 7 to 8 of them buy from you?
Absolutely, Dan, I do. I because it's either I tell them you have a choice, in life, and you can three choices, really. Three choices is what I tell people. You can, one, do nothing, which is the worst thing you can do. Number two, you can be dependent on meds the rest of your life, which is a choice, and that's okay. I'm not going to argue. I'm not a doctor, and that's a choice. You can deal with meds and deal with the side effects, or you can simply give this a try. I'm not telling you not. Don't stop taking your meds. Just give this a try for 120 days. If you want, you can tell your doctor you're taking it. If you want, you don't have to. Start slow. I give them the instructions that we've prepared, Dan. Start with a half a scoop for the first week or two, and then see how you feel, and then advance to the full scoop. And if you want faster results and you're feeling okay, take 2 scoops a day for the 120 days, and you'll get faster results. And I'll say, and that's the 3 choices you have. What will it be? And yeah, and so that's how I approach it, Dan.
Okay, great. And if you noticed that in our interview with each other, I've been using the art of asking questions to get you to give me answers to what you're doing. And I appreciate it. Anything else,
Yep.
David, that you would want to share before I ask maybe Judy, if you don't mind unmuting yourself? But David, anything else before we go to Judy?
The only other thing I would say is that when I talk to clients, I take a tendency to take some notes, so that the next time I reconnect with them, I'll have a little bit more personal information: the wife, the kids, the pets, their hobbies, or even something that we have in common with our age, we're our own age. If he's retired, if he's not retired, and that's the one thing I try to keep in mind when I talk to them again. So it's not all about business; it's a little bit more personal, and that just makes the conversation flow a little bit more in case the sale isn't made the first time,
Sure.
or you want a resale.
Right. And that's a great technique, because you show that you care about them more than just the sale. You care about them as a person.
That's correct. That's correct. So thank you, Dan.
Great, David. Thank you for sharing. So Judy, have you used the art of asking questions to help you increase your sales?
Every day. Every day.
So Judy, how do you use this skill set?
So similar to David, and so David, for me at the beginning of wanting to spread the joy of Per Arginine Plus, I would go from the question to the solution. They had a question about it, I'd give an answer. And just like you, I have learned to dig deeper and to really find what the challenge is, what the problems are, what they have done in the past. When I talk to people, they're not always on meds. Some of the time they are. Some people want to prevent themselves from going on meds. So what they've done in the past, what they're doing now, and for me, the best thing is, what would a future look like if they didn't have that challenge? And so to give them a desire of a possibility and a place and a goal to get to, and then be able to share stories, some personal stories, my clients, my family, even other people's clients, depending on what their challenge is, so that we can create that relationship, that possibility that there is a brighter future ahead for them.
So I like the element that you're using in terms of what their life would look like if they didn't have this issue. And I'm assuming from that type of line of questioning that you get what people would call hope and a positive response in terms of what their life would be like. Would I be accurate in that?
That is a word that's used a lot by the people that I talk to, is you give me hope. And also they leave our call or our meeting with, I'm so glad we had this conversation. This is like one of the best conversations I've had in so long, or you've taught me so much about this issue that I had no idea about. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, that's such a wonderful feeling, not just the sale, but the opportunity to help someone and to give them hope, because I feel that in the last 3 years or so, people have lost hope in so many ways. So to give them hope for health is, it's a gift.
So the art of asking questions for you has not only increased your ability to have greater number of sales, but it's also increased your ability to touch people's lives and give them a positive feeling leaving the conversation with you. Am I correct again in listening to what you're sharing?
And it creates a relationship with the client, because they feel that a lot of times they say that you get me, you get what I want, and you're like me, because a lot of times when they say they want to like play with their grandchildren, I'll mention my grandchildren, I mention what we do together, and I bring up the fact that I don't want to be the grandmother in the rocking chair that has the grandchild on their knees that says, tell me about your day. I want to be there during the day. I want to, going down the sled hills with them and playing in the ocean and, doing all the things that, we should be able to do no matter what it is, right?
Correct.
Hey, Dan, could I say something to that effect?
Sure.
I love your approach, Judy, because what you're doing in talking with the client is you're creating emotion. You're creating emotion by asking the customer what is the outcome that they're looking for in talking to you, and trying the product that you're offering, the nitric oxide product you're saying. And you're saying when you're talking about what the clients are looking for in terms of an outcome is the ability to grow old with a quality life, you know, and grow with, enjoy the grandkids and stuff. I like that approach because as we know, sales is all about emotion and creating emotion. And so thanks for sharing that. I like that.
You're welcome.
Judy, anything else you want to share this morning?
Just that, you know, it's a process and it's not a speedy one. So, you know, it's not about getting to the finish line all the time. It's about holding their hands as you walk together to get there. And sometimes it takes longer to get to the finish line. You know what? It's worth it.
Right. And you'll notice the title of our webinar this morning is The Art of Asking Questions. So it's a skill set, but it is also an art. And like any art, there's realistic art, there's art that's cartoonish, there's art that's symbolic. You know, there's different forms of art. So there's different ways of asking questions. And sometimes you'll use a certain strategy. Other times you'll use a slightly different strategy based upon the encounter that you're in. So being adaptable in the way that you ask your questions or how you summarize the information that you get. You know, Judy, if I could help you improve your blood pressure, be able to interact with your grandkids, be able to have a better quality life, would you be interested in watching a video that would help you understand how this nitric oxide therapy could definitely make improvements for you?
Hey, Dan.
Yes.
Just one more thing, if I may say, I noticed the contrast between how Judy approaches the clients and I did, and the contrast I see is when you're talking about, you know, there's different ways to ask questions and different ways to approach it. I would bet you that Judy's audience, for the most part, would be females, where my audience or my target market would probably be males. I don't know if I'm correct there, Judy.
Actually, you're not. So, yeah. So, and I think though that it's different that it's a man talking or a woman talking to a man, that they lose some of that ego, that macho. So I have an 800 number that it is connected to a video that Dan did on ED. And that's where, for a time, 90% of my business came from.
That is interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Judy. And
You're-
then I don't mean to delve out of the topic at hand, but I had a question regarding the 800 number. Does it ring to your cell phone or a different number? Or
Yeah, it rings directly to my cell phone. It's
okay, that's my
to my cell phone, but they don't get my cell phone number.
all right.
Just get the 800 number, and it's only $10 a month, and it's been totally worth it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'd be happy to talk to anybody about that. And then at the end of the conversation, if we had a great conversation and they do buy, sometimes even if they're still thinking about it, I say, listen, let me give you my personal cell phone number so you don't have to go through that 800 number again. And
Awesome.
I appreciate it. And it doesn't cost any difference whether they use the number or not, but it makes them feel that they have a stronger connection with me.
Great. Anything else you want to share, Judy?
I think that's it. You know, it's well worth it. That's asking questions is well worth it.
Great, thank you. Anyone else on today's webinar? Again, I'm struggling a little bit this morning with regards to my issues. So if you would like to share how you've used the art of asking questions to help you in your synergy business, if you don't mind unmuting yourself and sharing. If we don't have anyone else, then we'll just call it a shorter day today. All right. Well, I want to thank David and Judy. Donald, do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to share how the art of asking questions has helped me, and it's in my sales, the displays and stuff like that I do with Winston at the Price Mart. And it's always you're meeting the Price Mart's customers. And I would always approach them or they would say to me, what do you have today? What are you selling? And it would give me the opportunity to explain to the Price Mart customers that Price Mart has now made a decision. They have listened and they've made a decision to carry Synergy's products. And we would have, the Pro 9, we would have E9. And then what it does, it will give me the opportunity to talk about, peripheral artery disease and nitric oxide therapy and that kind of stuff. And many times there would have been people who, because of the market conditions here, the price and the retail is kind of tight, but even though the price is a little bit more than because we're coming through a company, they will still purchase the product, and then they would end up being a customer of Winston or of one of the others, Timothy. So it's the art of asking questions. Sometimes it comes back. It gives you the opportunity in the format to accept or take their question and then go back with some questions about nitric oxide. But I also want to share something that I discovered recently. It might be a little bit off topic, but I want to share it anyway. How many of you have been hearing about artificial intelligence and Chat GPT? The kind of war between Microsoft and Google. What I want to share is that computer end, I decided to ask some questions of Chat GPT in the way of prompts, because you've got to prompt it. So I would say, what can you tell me about nitric oxide therapy? And it came back with nitric oxide therapy is a molecule that is produced by the body and plays several important roles in the physiological process. It's a signaling molecule, but it goes through a whole lot of stuff that is mind-blowing. And I know that this is true because this is stuff that we know that Dan has been teaching us. And I would say, like, tell me more. And then it says in the body, I know it's produced by different types of cells, including endothelial cells. And I would ask, who were the individuals that won the Nobel Prize in 1988 for the discovery? And it came back with the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine in 1998 was awarded to 3 scientists. And it gave me the names of the 3 scientists. and they would say, tell me more. And then it went into, you know, the individuals, Robert Furshgott and Dr. Luis Ignaro. And I asked, how does NO help with erectile dysfunction? And it says nitric oxide plays a key role in the regulation of blood flow to the penis and is important for the maintenance of an erection. I mean, excellent stuff. So if any of you got the opportunity to go into chat GPT, play with it and see what you can get out of it. So I want to share that today, and hopefully some of the time we would go into some more stuff.
All right, thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Dan.
Anything else, Donald, before we say goodbye?
Not at this time, except
Okay.
I would be repeating what Judy and David has shared.
All right,
All excellent information.
okay. Thank you. Anyone else before I say goodbye? All right, again, thank you, Donald. Thank you, David. Thank you, Judy. Have a blessed Saturday. We'll talk to you next Saturday. Bye-bye.